The clatter of silverware stopped. Conversations froze mid-sentence. And then, like a wave crashing against rocks, the laughter began, cruel, sharp, and unforgiving. Maria Santos lay sprawled on the marble floor of Lumiere, Manhattan's most exclusive French restaurant, her knees scraped, her dignity shattered into 1,000 pieces. The elegant black dress she'd worn to blend in now felt like a spotlight, highlighting every curve, every pound that society had taught her to be ashamed of. She could feel dozens of eyes boring into her, hear the barely concealed snickers from the nearby tables where women in designer gowns whispered behind manicured hands. This was supposed to be her moment. After 15 years of relentless work, of sacrificing weekends and holidays, of choosing boardrooms over birthday parties, Maria had finally made it. Tomorrow morning, she would stand before the press and be introduced as the new CEO of Titanium Industries, one of the largest tech conglomerates in the country. But tonight, right now, she was just another person people felt entitled to mock. Is she okay? Someone whispered, though the concern in their voice was paper-thin. Maybe she shouldn't be eating at a place like this, another voice carried across the room, followed by muffled laughter. Maria's hands trembled as she tried to push herself up, but her ankle screamed in protest. She'd felt it twist when her heel caught the edge of the carpet, sending her tumbling forward in what felt like slow motion. The pain was one thing, she could handle pain. But the humiliation, that cut deeper than any physical wound. Please, just, give me a second, she muttered to no one in particular, blinking back tears that threatened to spill over. She wouldn't cry. Not here. Not in front of these people who had already decided she was nothing more than entertainment for their evening. Then, a gentle hand appeared in her line of vision. Take your time, ma'am. There's no rush. Maria looked up to see a young waiter kneeling beside her, his warm brown eyes filled with nothing but kindness. He couldn't have been more than 30, with slightly tousled dark hair and a white shirt that had seen better days. His name tag read, James. Unlike everyone else in the room, he wasn't looking at her with pity or disgust. He was looking at her like she was a human being who needed help. Your ankle, you twisted it pretty badly, James said softly, keeping his voice low enough that only she could hear. Let me help you up, and we'll get you somewhere comfortable. I can manage, Maria started to say, but another spike of pain shot through her leg, and she winced. I know you can, James replied with a small smile. But you don't have to. With remarkable gentleness, he helped her to her feet, supporting most of her weight without making her feel helpless. Maria noticed his hands were calloused, working hands, not the soft palms of the wealthy diners surrounding them. Around them, the whispers continued. What a scene, someone said loudly enough to be heard. The waiter should get a medal for that, another added with a laugh. James's jaw tightened, but he didn't respond. Instead, he guided Maria toward a private booth in the corner, away from the prying eyes of the main dining room. As they passed the maitre d', a pinch-faced man named Philippe who looked like he'd just discovered week-old fish, Maria heard him mutter, "This is precisely why we have dress codes and standards." James stopped walking. For a moment, Maria thought he might say something, might defend her. But instead, he simply asked Philippe, "Could you bring some ice, please? And perhaps call for a car." Philippe's lip curled. "The staff entrance is that way, James. Perhaps you should return to your actual responsibilities instead of playing hero." "I am handling my responsibilities," James replied evenly. "I'm helping a guest who's injured. A guest who clearly..." Enough. Maria found her voice, steady despite the pain radiating from her ankle. "I don't know what your problem is, but this young man has shown more class and professionalism in 5 minutes than you've displayed in your entire career, I'd wager." Philippe's face turned red, but before he could respond, James gently urged Maria forward. "Let's get you sitting down." Once she was settled in the booth with a cushion elevating her ankle, James disappeared briefly and returned with ice wrapped in a clean towel, a glass of water, and, unexpectedly, a warm smile. "Better?" he asked. "Much. Thank you, James." Maria studied him more carefully now. Despite the late hour, despite the clear exhaustion in his eyes, he remained attentive and kind. "You didn't have to do all this. Especially not with your manager clearly disapproving." James shrugged. "He's not my manager, just a guy with an overinflated sense of importance. Besides, helping someone who's hurt isn't optional, it's just what decent people do." Something in his matter-of-fact tone made Maria's throat tighten. When was the last time someone had helped her without wanting something in return? When had anyone looked past her appearance, her weight, her success, and just seen her? "You're different from the others here," she observed. "I'm temporary staff," James explained, pulling out a chair to sit for just a moment. "Picking up shifts wherever I can. Single dad trying to make rent and save for my daughter's school expenses. She's 7, brilliant kid, way smarter than me." His face lit up when he mentioned her, and Maria felt something warm bloom in her chest. "What's her name?" "Emma. She wants to be a scientist. Specifically, she wants to make medicine for people who are sad." Her words, not mine. James laughed softly. "After my wife passed 3 years ago, Emma became my whole world. So I take the extra shifts, put up with people like Philippe, and keep moving forward. Because that's what parents do." Maria felt tears prick her eyes again, but this time for entirely different reasons. Here was a man working himself to exhaustion, facing his own struggles, yet he'd stopped everything to help a stranger. How many people in that dining room, with their expensive watches and imported wines, would do the same? "James," she said carefully, "what if I told you that tomorrow morning, I'm being announced as the CEO of Titanium Industries?" He blinked, then smiled. "I'd say congratulations. That's incredible. You don't seem surprised that someone like me could hold such a position." "Why would I be?" James looked genuinely confused. "Success isn't about what you look like. It's about what you do, how you think, how you treat people. Anyone who judges otherwise is just revealing their own limitations." And there it was, the perspective Maria had been searching for in all those boardrooms filled with men in expensive suits. This waiter, struggling to make ends meet, understood something that billion-dollar executives never grasped: humanity matters more than appearances. "How would you like a job?" Maria asked suddenly. "A real one. My company needs people in operations management, people who understand service, who know how to treat others with dignity, who led by example." James stared at her. What? I'm serious. I've watched you tonight. The way you handled this situation, the way you stood up to that pompous maitre d', without being cruel, the way you prioritize what matters, that's the kind of character I want in my organization." Maria pulled out her phone with fingers that still trembled slightly. "Give me your email. My assistant will contact you Monday morning." "Ma'am, I appreciate the gesture, but you don't have to. This isn't charity, James. This is me recognizing talent when I see it. And please, call me Maria." Tears glistened in James's eyes now. "I don't know what to say." "Say you'll come interview. Bring Emma if you'd like, we have an excellent daycare facility on campus." As James wrote down his information, Maria looked back toward the main dining room where people had returned to their meals, their gossip, their self-important lives. They'd never know that their mockery tonight had led to this moment. They'd never understand that the woman they'd dismissed had just changed someone's life, not because she was rich but because someone had reminded her of what truly mattered. "Thank you," James whispered. "Not just for the opportunity. For being kind." Maria smiled through her tears. "Thank you for helping me up. In more ways than one."